Moss.
Hello, Wendy Stuart. How are you?
Do you have spring fever? I have spring fever.
It feels like springtime here in New York City. It's wonderful. And welcome to If These Walls Could Talk, everyone.
Oh, and we have a bit of a delay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did I go out and come back in or what?
I don't know, but we'll just keep going.
If Chauncey, our producer, Chauncey Dandridge is good with it, then I am too.
Yeah. So, Tim.
Oh, I can hear you. That's weird. Okay, go ahead.
How fun was it being on Jim Silvestri's podcast?
Oh, my God, that was so much fun.
Odyssey, after we had Jim on our podcast.
Yes, we all hung out that afternoon, which I never get to do, and it was so joyful. That was so wonderful.
It was so totally right. It was joyful.
Yeah, we went over, we grabbed a bite to eat, we hung out and chatted, and then we went over to Daniel Dardicio's Red Eye and hung out there for a little while. And
which we want everyone to know, he's had like a soft opening, so there are some events there, but the real opening, I mean, they're doing work, right?
May. When is he opening? April or May?
I thought the end of April, beginning of May. So don't hold us to it. I mean, you all can check. It's called the Red Eye. What a really great club. Very excited. Yeah. And it was fun. I'm sorry that we didn't have our regular co-host for Jim's show on.
But I love Daniel Nardicio filled in.
Right. So what I was going to say, I adore Daniel. I've known him for forever. He is like super. He's just great. But the best thing was Daniel has 2 dogs. You knew I was going to go.
Yeah.
And you know what? The little one, the newest one, Tabasco. Oh my God, is a 3-pound Chihuahua rescue. Maybe he's even 2.5 pounds. The cutest thing, half of a black face and the rest is tan. And then Bo, who a lot of you already know, has these beautiful, incredible pointy ears. But
But he's a medium-sized dog. Yeah,
he's a medium-sized dog. But I went to get my coat, and Bo grabbed my wrist.
Yeah, I think you scared him or something, and
startled him. And Daniel, being the proud father, said, "Oh, he's not really biting." And I'm like, "Well, he just bit down on my wrist, but he's not really biting. He loved me. He really
told me, because when we were downstairs, I was doing something and he started to do that, like started to bite me, and he goes, he's not really biting. And he wasn't. He was just saying, just communicating to me. Yeah. So but with you, I think he bit you because you caught him off guard. You startled him.
Has that ever happened to you on a date, Tim?
So occasionally. I startle them when they bite me
hard, right? But they really love you.
But last Friday, we did Ikevelli and Hanukkah Lewinsky and I went down to
Jersey
and into Jersey, and we did 50 Shades of Gay. That was so much fun. Oh my God.
Oh, it had, and I know the audience, that show, you did it at a VFW and it was packed. It was sold out.
Yep. And then they added more tables or more chairs and sold that out too. So
I love it. That is the beauty of doing a show at the VFW, by the way.
Yes.
People don't think about those spaces, but
it was great because we had a whole like the dance floor and everybody around us, and just it was fun to play there. I know who Hanukkah Lewinsky is. I love that name, by the way. Yeah,
it's brilliant. But I haven't got to see Hanukkah perform.
Yeah, she's fun. She's very good. She fit right in. She was perfect. Yeah, but she was at the Glam Awards.
I know that's where I
tried, but we never got to chat. Never got to.
You didn't get to chat with her. Well, at least you got to perform with her. You know what? Even better. So this Sunday at PANGEA, I want to let everyone know that Catherine is doing one of her fabulous fashion shows here. We're doing a fashion jazz brunch. And first, there's going to be Sue Matsuki's jazz brunch.
Nice.
And then there's going to be a fashion show brunch after that. So if you're looking to have a great time on a Sunday in February, come on down to PANGEA, because we've got isn't that amazing? 2 really great events here.
Well, that's Sunday the 12th. Now on the 11th,
yes,
I'm also covering Chulo's fashion show, Chulo Underwear.
Oh, Chulo, he does that. Or wait, are you
underwear?
covering it, or you can be uncovered in Chula's fashion show.
We'll see how the night works out.
We're just gonna go for it. And Saturday night at PANGEA is our dear friend Brian Alejandro.
Yes.
Or Lord Brian, as we call him. He really is a lord, and he is performing here on Saturday night, and there's still tickets available. So again, you can have an incredible weekend.
Now, speaking of performances at PANGEA, how was last night? Tell us about last night.
So David Sabella performs as Amanda. David Sabella is absolutely brilliant. The character,
his name is Amanda Reckon With. A man to reckon with.
Right, Amanda Reckon With. Right. And he does the whole thing, Amanda Reckon With, and he does it all with a British accent. Of course, it was packed. Show was totally sold out. Amazed me. I ran into people I haven't seen in ages there. I'm like, how did everybody know about David Sabella? I had heard his name, had no idea what he did. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, you have to get out there and go to theater. I mean, why the heck are we living in New York unless we're going to do that? And if you're here as a tourist, come to off Broadway. We have incredible cabaret. He was absolutely brilliant. This man has a background as an opera singer, and he uses it in his character. His stand-up comedy within the character is brilliant. And I told him, Tim Moss said hello, and he said, "Oh, Tim, I love him."
I love David.
I love it. Tim.
But David was also on Broadway. He was originally in Chicago.
He was in Chicago originally, right? So his and now he's going to be touring. He's going to London after the 17th of April, and prior to that, we are having
Amanda's show.
Amanda's show, yes. Okay. So he is going there to do the show.
Nice.
He's going to South America as well, but we are snagging him before he leaves the country in April. He will be on this show if these walls could talk. So please make sure that you stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of staying, go ahead.
Yes, I have one more. Like, I'm going to jump into this. Don't forget to get your tickets for the Imperial Court of New York Night of 1,000 Gowns, April 1st. One of the most stellar events. We have the Assassins performing. We have Broadway performers there. We have, oh my God, we just had him on the show too.
Darius.
No, what's his name? Oh, what is it? Damien.
Damien. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking Darius.
Right. It's like, oh God, Tim and I together make half a brain, but we're doing the best. We have a lot on our minds.
But we do get there eventually.
We get there eventually. We have a lot on our minds. We were talking about how much Madonna must have on our minds all the time. Yeah. My God, she's so busy. All right, that's it for shameless plugs. Yes.
I would like to thank everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tim Moss. And we will be right back with our incredible guest, Jamie Marie Hannigan.
So our guest today is, first of all, she walked in and I'm like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. But I expected she would be gorgeous. She's performed with the Backstreet Boys, Cyndi Lauper, James Gandolfini, worked in theater and film and TV. But I think what I love that's so impressive about her, she does this incredible show. And it is going to be tomorrow night. It's once a month at Stonewall. It's called the Velvet Stardust Show. It moves, it shakes. As she describes herself, a mover, a shaker, a magic maker. Without further ado, let me introduce to you Jamie Marie Hannigan. Come on down. Yay.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, I just realized. So I told you I was dyslexic. So I'm getting.
Oh, you need to move.
Yeah.
There you go. A little more. Move in a little more because I want to see you. You're
okay. Gorgeous. Yeah, because you're
fabulous.
Right. Good.
Just a little closer to Wendy. A little
right in the middle. We're right in the middle, Tim.
We're a little closer to Wendy, and then you'll be perfect.
Come a little closer to me. Yeah, and I'm COVID free.
Voila! There you go.
So I said Hannigan. I have Hannigan on the brain from what was that? Annie, Mrs. Hannigan. Yeah. It's Harrigan, but Harrigan's a good Irish name.
It is. I'll take it. As long as it's an Irish name.
It has to be an Irish name. Good for you. Be true blue to the end. So how long have you been doing the Velvet Stardust Show?
So we came up on our 1-year anniversary actually last week.
Wow.
Oh, good.
Oh, that is really exciting. reading about the show, I want you to tell our audience all the components that are involved. There's a lot.
There is a lot. There is a lot because it was born of my brain, which also has a lot in it.
Your brain birthed it. Your brain with all those things in it birthed
and all the
it,
glitter and everything. Just So it's a live band show. Depending on the venue, we have a 4 or 5 piece band. We have some killer vocalists, and we have about 4 to 6 dancers and flow artists.
Wow.
Yeah. What's a flow artist?
So flow arts is basically using dance as well as props. So they use, well, we don't do fire at Stonewall, but they can use fire, silk fans, lights, all kinds of different things.
It's like a visual feast.
It is a
visual and audio
I'm
feast.
Stealing it.
You can, because I like Movement Maker and Magic Maker for you. When I was doing your promotion, I'm like, oh, I'm taking that. I did credit you in it, though. I always credit when I steal. But how very, very exciting. What is the reaction of your audience to this? Did they get up and dance? Or
so? It's really cool because this show, I think, appeals to everyone. Everybody always says, what's your demographic? And I'm like, you know what? I know, like, business-wise, you're supposed to know your demographic. And I'm like, you know what's great about this? We don't have one because it just appeals to everybody.
I love it.
Nice.
And that's what you want, right? You don't want to have to zone in on a certain demographic. That works sometimes for marketing, but we love that we're touching everyone.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No,
also for you today, because you rock out. I wore my rock and roll shirt.
Yes, I love it.
Who's on the shirt? I can't see.
I don't know. It's just rock and roll.
It says, right, Tim? It's all rock and roll to you. So, what made you decide you needed to do this show?
So I love telling this story because it's very much how I do a lot of things. We were 2 weeks out from a date of a friend of mine, Lee. He owns a venue called Crossroads in Garwood, New Jersey.
Okay.
And he, I often say to him, hey, Lee, do you have an open date? And I'm the brave one who takes the very last minute open date and just makes it work. And so I was sitting there with Lee and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to pull the trigger on this show that I've been wanting to do for forever. And he's like, what is it? And I was like, it's a rock and roll burlesque show. And he kind of just looked at me and was like, all right. I mean, who's going to say no, really?
Right.
To that?
Yes.
And then, we did it. We did it in a snowstorm, packed the place out. We thought about canceling the night before. And I was like, look, we rolled with this in 2 weeks. We had 1 rehearsal. I'm like, we're going for it now. There's no holding back. So
there's no holding Jamie back. I can tell by talking to her. She doesn't cancel. She gets an idea in her head and she's mono-focused on that, and you are going to make it happen, which makes you, girl, a great producer. And don't let anyone try and put you in these boxes. Well, who is your demographic? God, when people use stuff like target audience, it's like, go away, leave me alone. Because some of us who are not of the corporate world, I will say that none of that works for us. Absolutely. You have that raw creative energy. So where did all this start with you, Jamie? Like, did you come into the world singing and dancing?
Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in Edison, New Jersey.
Oh, okay, nearby.
Jersey girl.
Jersey girl.
Jersey. We love Jersey girls.
Who doesn't? So, it was like a lot of people start out, like my mom and my aunt decided that they were going to sign me up for dance class. And I fell in love with it. I went, all through school, was a theater kid doing all that. And as soon as I graduated high school, I started my own theater company in town.
Oh,
wow. Okay. That's huge. Wow. That's very impressive because
very telling. Very telling of your personality too. Yeah.
Tim, like, what were you like at 17 or 18?
17, I don't know. I think I was smoking weed. And
I was like, she was starting her own company. I was like hanging out on the stoop in the Bronx. So that alone is very impressive. Considering a lot of kids that grew up like you did, talented, right? the first thing they want to do is, oh, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to get an agent, a manager. I'm going to start auditioning. It is interesting that you wanted to start your own company.
It was interesting. And it was a little bit of back and forth with me for a while because I did start my own company. So I was working through just like the local rec program. And I started the first ever theater program in my town, like the recreation center theater program. Built up a clientele and opened up my own performing arts school at 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. What was the name of your school?
It was called Stage Stars.
Stage Stars.
Nice. And now that was for musical theater?
Yeah. So what I did was I did it on an audition-based program. So the kids would come in and they wouldn't just be able to sign up for like 1 or 2 classes. They would kind of sign up for a week's worth of activities. So we did creative writing. We did, we taught them about how to build sets, and it was kind of like an all-inclusive program.
Their mothers must have loved you.
That's still up in the air.
what would have been, excuse me, as a mom, there's no downside to that. Look what you were doing with the kids.
I think I fostered the love for this, and a lot of them grew up and this is what they chose to do, with their lives too.
Right. Oh, so it's your fault that they're in the arts.
I'm to blame. It's always my fault.
Blame Jamie that these
No, but that's so wonderful that you took that initiative and actually did it, because you actually changed these kids' lives. You offered them something that they were not, and now especially that so many of the schools have taken arts out of their curriculum.
And that is actually the point, right? So many of the schools, the public schools, have taken arts out, and all of these budget cuts. To have somebody like you come along and be able to offer that it's really, really something.
Like what shows did you do, like in school, maybe that made you want to start your own production company?
So I was really blessed. I might get teary-eyed now, but
it's okay. Everybody cries with us. We cry.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to happen eventually. We just early, right? So I had a great theater director in high school. His name was Gordon, and he passed away a couple years ago now. But he my first year we did a musical review of just all Broadway shows and stuff.
I love those.
And I was lucky. We chose that high school because they had that program.
Wow.
And he just really did something special. And what I did with my students later is kind of what he did with me. He taught us, he made sure we were so well-rounded in the industry. And he's definitely one of the people that I'm grateful to have had in my life, because I know he had a huge impact on me being so well-rounded and
and this is a public high school in New Jersey.
It was a Catholic high school,
but it was Catholic school. Go figure.
Catholic school, 12 years.
Wow, you have 12 years. See, I didn't read that. I'm good at reading, but I didn't read. No, but Jamie's very polite. She is. She knows.
But what shows did you do there?
We did Crazy for You. We did Anything Goes. We did Fair Lady.
Did what? I'm sorry.
My Fair Lady. My Fair Lady.
Yes. Oh,
did your mom and grandma bring you into the city for plays and stuff?
Oh, yes. So we came into the city. I was a dance competition kid growing up. So we did a lot of dance conventions. I came in taking classes at Broadway Dance Center all the time. So I was there a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Now, did you start with ballet, or did you start with jazz, or?
So I was the kid who, because I was on the competition team, had to take ballet. Now as an adult, and when I became a teacher, I stressed to my students how important it was.
Yeah.
It is the foundation of everything. And
I
was such a hyper kid that I didn't really love ballet class, but I'm happy that I took it. And, I made sure that when I taught my students, I brought in the best ballet teachers, because I knew it wasn't me. It's not my forte. So I had the best teachers I could come in and teach them, because I knew how important.
And kudos to you. Okay. Because if you listen to what she's saying, often teachers, the ego will get in the way. You're very smart. You knew to give it up to the people. Yeah.
Where your limitations are.
Right, so your own limitations. You were cool with it.
That's so important. And I tell people that all the time. I look at people and people who are out there doing it, and I give them the utmost respect, because they're doing things and they're brave. But it's also like, I think it's very important to know what you excel at and what you maybe need to work on a little bit more.
Yeah. And just backing up to what you were saying about the well-rounded, teaching all aspects of theater, because I've worked with some actors that have only acted. You know, they walk in and have this attitude of, you know, well, just do the sets and do the this and to do that, you know, and not realizing the amount of work and everything that it takes to do the sets and the sound and the lights and so that they can walk on stage and look good.
Absolutely.
You know, they don't. I love that approach. I love that approach.
Yeah. Well, and because of you, that's what you laid down to your kids. And Tim, to your point, I don't know why actors do get like so pigeonholed, right? I'm only doing this or I'm only doing that. And it used to be, I only do theater or I only do film and TV,
right?
Or I'm a commercial actor. I think a lot of that's changing. And I like to believe that people like you have been instrumental in, you know, having that happen for anyone who's coming up right now.
So you started out, well, firstly, I just want to say thank you everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and gorgeous guests, Jamie Marie Hannigan. Sorry.
We are just,
I've got 3 names now. I'll take them
that
all.
Great?
And
okay.
She said on social media, I know you only have Jamie Marie. I said it's easier.
Okay. Yeah.
So please tell us we're not the only one that. No, I'm known for butchering names, unless it's Smith. I butcher it.
So you started off in theater, which is the basis for acting anyway. That's a great place to start. But then you got into, you've done television, you've done music videos, right? Or was it a music video? Yeah, music videos and bands and television and theater and film. And can you give us a little progression of that path? How you did all that?
So circling back to what Wendy said earlier about, it's interesting you opened up your own business first instead of auditioning and doing all that stuff. I did start to, when I had my studio for a couple of years, try to go on some auditions. It was hard because, you know, it was a small studio and I loved what I did and I didn't want to give it up. And I had people tell me, you know, if you want to be in the audition circuit full time, you can't be doing this. They weren't wrong. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do both. I'm going to figure it out. And so what I ended up doing is I would go on auditions and I found myself, and they tell you not to do this, but again, I don't really listen. I did a lot of featured extra work on shows.
Right.
If you ever want, you know, the leads, you can't do that. It's so bad. You're creating a name for yourself as an extra. And I thought, whatever, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I'm so glad that I did, because I just got dropped into these really fabulous situations by accident. On set, and you know, I would be put in these really cool scenes. I was standing next to Woody Allen, for, like literally this close while he directed the scene I was in. And it's like, you know, I may not have had that opportunity. I got to work with Kristen Stewart. We had a nice conversation. Like there's all these like, and not like names aren't important, but I'm glad that I had those experiences.
Oh, cool.
Well, I can almost guarantee that you and I are very similar, and Wendy, we're all very similar in the respect that put us on the set, we will observe and learn. That's how I learn on the job.
Right.
And I observe, you know, the star of the film or whatever, and watch how they do that and how they create. And, you know, I learned so much more from actually being on a movie set than I ever did in the classroom.
Well, it's called using the opportunity that's ahead, you know, put on your plate for you.
But having Woody Allen right there, and Kristen Stewart, and
I'm surprised Woody Allen didn't even alive. I'm sorry, but
you would learn from them, you know, and just watching and observing.
Did he Woody Allen? How did he talk to you? Was he like?
He was okay. He was just very. It was a little bit of a fluster for everyone, I think, that day in that scene.
Was the thing with Sun Yi going on then? Do you know?
No, that was prior.
Okay, it was before Sun Yi. She could have been before Sun Yi.
That's a good hashtag.
I love you, Jamie. You are very quick. That's exactly hashtag before Sun Yi.
That's it. We're using it.
I can't believe there's not one drag queen that has been like, you know,
there will be now.
Sun Yi. Yeah. You know, come on, that's a great drag name. It's interesting what you said about extra work, because like you, when I started out, I was told that too. I did it for whatever money I could. After a while, when you're in this business a while, it's really bad to do because you won't get sent out for those opportunities. And in my case, it was like a 2 a.m. shoot.
Yeah.
And this movie was Stone Pillow with Lucille Ball. All right. And they had a bus, they had us all on. And it was 2 a.m. I remember I wore fur in those days because I wasn't like such a big animal advocate. I was under my Tanuki coat, asleep on the bus, and they came to get everyone, and I didn't budge. And then I was found. And it was a big casting director who said, "We called for you, and you were asleep under your coat." And I'm like, all right, it's like 2 a.m. It's like 20 degrees outside. He said, "You'll never work in this office again." And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to. Right. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way back. That was my end to extra work. And
I knew I wasn't going to do it forever, but I knew that I wanted that experience.
I love it.
I knew that I could experience some really cool things, and I did. So
and well, somebody like you will.
And so you learned from that, from doing the extra work and being on the sets.
Yep.
Now I have one for you that you said you performed at Splash Bar.
Yeah.
Tim, Splash.
Yeah.
That was first of all, my favorite. I was there all the time. What did you do?
I performed literally on Splash Bar.
Oh my God. Yes.
Downstairs or upstairs?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I remember. We did the Rocky Horror Show there.
Oh my God.
I had my best Columbia moment ever. I had a wireless mic and a couple shots. I just didn't care. And everyone was like, "You sounded great." Yeah.
And with the dancing, can you tap?
Right?
I do tap. Yeah.
That would be a perfect Columbia.
In Columbia, yes.
So, oh my God, you're like a triple. She's a triple threat. This girl is an absolute triple threat. So, Jamie, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, you seem to have an incredible need that you're giving back, and you're giving back through the arts.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So I'm asked this question often because I'm proud of the charity work that I've done. And I think, people say like, why do you do this? Or why did you decide to give back to the arts? And I have trouble answering it because I just feel like that's what we're supposed to do.
Wow.
Like just as human beings in general. And the arts is an amazing outlet to do that. So, I've had people tell me, "Well, you're not in the position to do that. Like, you need to keep the money for the studio, and you're not in the position to do that. You're not a millionaire." And I'm like, you don't have to be a millionaire. You can raise awareness. You can be an advocate and an activist. You can, even if you do a show and you raise $500, you did it.
Right.
Right. Oh my God. I just adore
I know you love her, right? I mean,
I love and adore you. Yes. And firstly, thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our gorgeous and wonderful guest, the fabulous Jamie Marie Hannigan.
Yay. Oh, good. You got it right that time. No, it's Harrigan. Harrigan. Tim, it's Harrigan, not Hannigan.
Oh, Harrigan. It says Hannigan on the thing. I am so sorry.
Is it okay? I'm calling you Jamie Marie. Jamie Marie.
Yes.
So
Jamie Marie with our guest Jamie Marie. How about that?
Jamie Marie and Tym Moss. Okay.
Yeah.
When you've worked with homeless, you've worked with underserved communities with kids.
Yes.
If you can think of an experience, a unique experience that made you feel it was all worthwhile, it had to be something that.
So I mean, it always feels worthwhile, and it always feels great to do. But I think when I see it being passed on to another generation, and I see the kids that I taught thinking the same things or repeating things I've said, like, "Well, you're supposed to give back to the community. You're supposed to use the arts." I'm like, I did it.
Yeah, right, right. You were the person.
That's the goal, right?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to ask you, this is kind of a long question, and I'll hopefully get a long answers.
Low pressure.
Can you tell, because since you're like a triple threat, can you tell me one time when you danced, like had a dance that was one of your favorite times to dance, one of your favorite times to sing, and one of your favorite times in acting?
Okay. Dancing. That is really hard. Gosh, that's a hard question.
You can give us a couple.
So I might have to. I'm sorry.
Yes, I love it.
I'm good at picking one of anything.
Oh, girl, I hear you. Right. Because when you live in that gray area, you have a lot of choices. If you pick one, then it closes off everything else.
My son started doing this where he hates to make choices. I was just telling my friend the other day, and you ask him, do you want like peanut butter and jelly or a ham sandwich? And he'll go, everything. I want everything. Okay, just give me everything. I'm like,
mother. Yeah, good. He wants it all. He's only 4.
Experience it all. I love it.
And wants it all. That's how that is like really great.
So you dance?
So dancing. So one of the very first professional jobs that I got, again, I just feel like I kind of got dropped into. I went on this audition. Do you remember the singer Blue Cantrell sang "Hit 'Em Up" style?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So she was the one picking the dancers at this audition. And I walked in, and it was for, at the time, it was Teen People magazine, and they did a show every year called What's Next. So it was the up and coming artists for that year. So I got to dance with Alicia Keys, JaRule, Michelle Branch.
Oh my God.
And Mandy Moore was the host. So I got to meet all these people and dance with them. And it was one of the very first things that I ever did.
Wow. First shut out of the bag. That sets the bar really high, Jamie.
Yeah, I was going to say, accidentally set the bar high. Yes.
But what a memorable time.
Right, Tim? And really, really, to start out and to have landed something like that is...
But again, I mean, just watching all of them and being that close to them and observing, that was
definitely magic. It was really
cool. But also such an educational moment to see how everybody maneuvers and works and
the pros,
from the performance angle,
or the pros. What did you think of the Grammys?
I kind of half watched it.
Same here.
Interesting.
It was the Grammys. It was what I thought it was gonna be.
Right. But back to my question. So that was your dancing.
That was my dance moment. Maybe.
What about singing and what about acting?
Singing, I got to tell you, singing is not. I'm still very scared of singing. I do it. I sing in more of a theater setting. I played Sally Brown, Columbia. The very high pitched theater roles. But it's something I want to get better at, and it's something that I love to do, but I wouldn't say it's of the triple of the threats. It might be like the third, but I do it. And I don't know, that splash moment was kind of cool. I
knew it. I hung on to that. I'm like, ooh, it didn't matter to me any of the other things that you do.
I will say, I'll say I got to play the role of Linda in Blood Brothers. It's a really cool musical, and that show in general just sticks with you. And I think just singing, probably tell me it's not true, on stage with incredible people would be one singing moment. And I would say that was probably it. Blood Brothers.
Wow.
And acting?
I don't know.
Television, film,
theater? I don't know. I did this really cool. I did a featured extra job one time on Law & Order SVU.
Oh, sweet.
And this is actually a really funny story. I'll tell the shortened version so we get to
We love funny stories.
Take as much time as you want.
So I was called to be a feature in a scene. It was like, there were only going to be like 3 of us. It was something in a college dorm room or something like that. And I was like, okay. So at the time I was going through like massive anxiety about driving. So I had a former student of mine say he was going to drive me to the city. So he's like, I got you. Let's do this. I'm like, okay. So we're driving, we're in the tunnel, and I hear like a beep, and I look at the dashboard and I'm like, is your gas light on?
Oh.
And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot to get gas. And he's flipping out, right? So we're in the tunnel. The car scoots just out of the tunnel.
And she died.
Oh my God. Right by Port Authority there.
Thank God.
I know exactly where that is.
So,
it's crazy. You come out of that tunnel and there's cars going everywhere.
The lanes are like.
And I'm dressed like God knows what, because I'm supposed to be this like, girl in a college dorm room. So it's like 30 below, it's 30 below zero. I'm in this like really short skirt and leather boots and like this jacket. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So
and the hair teased up and a little bit.
He gets out of the car. He's having a fit, right? And all these truckers are coming over trying to calm him down. And I looked at him and I grabbed him and I said, I'm going to get gasoline. So I walked like blocks. I carried the gas can back to the car.
God.
It's falling out all over my hands.
Oh, God.
Covered in gasoline.
Story.
My hand just frozen to the thing. We put the gas in the car. We go, I call, set, because I'm like, great, now I'm going to be late. They're going to take me out of the scene. I got fired. There goes my money. There goes everything. Right. So I called them. They were super nice. They should have told me, forget it. But they're like, it's okay. Just come. We're going to put you in another scene. So now I'm like,
I love that.
Which
how cool.
You don't, right. I got lucky.
Absolutely.
Right here.
Right.
So we get there. I walk in. They're like, we're going to put you in this other scene. I'm like, okay. So now I reek of gasoline.
You're dressed like a hooker.
I'm dressed like a hooker who reeks of gasoline. Yes.
Right.
A hooker at a gas station.
And I'm like, it would be really great if something cool happened, because this has really been a hell of a day. So it did, and they sat me right up front with all the main characters or whatever, and it was just a really cool scene to shoot, and everyone was awesome, and it was just a great day. Like, you saw me on camera or whatever, but it's just a funny story.
But it worked. You know what I'm most impressed with, though, Tim? She and I are so different. I'm definitely like a New York girl. I would have been out of that car, but bye, buddy, and hailed a cab. Hailed a cab. No, you have such integrity. You really do. I would have hailed that cab and been, Mama got a job to do. I love you went and hauled the gasoline. I mean,
yes, that's impressive.
Right in her outfit.
Yes.
I can adapt. I can adjust. I can get what has to be done.
Well, you know what, Jamie,
you're producer.
Your telling of this story really makes me understand why you're such a good producer. You are completely responsible. You have integrity, and you are going to get the job done no matter what.
Absolutely.
And you're not going to let anything stop you.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and glorious guest, the fabulous Jamie Marie.
Yay! Oh, Tim, can we play the clip? I want to see the clip.
I was going to say yes. And so you have a clip. Can you tell us a little bit about this that we're going to watch, the video?
So actually tomorrow night, we have an incredible show happening at the Stonewall Inn, which we are just so honored to perform at. I called when we started doing that. It'll actually be our 1-year anniversary there in April.
Wow.
So we're so honored to be there, and it's such a cool place. And you can feel the love when you walk in the door.
I agree.
And so we are doing the Velvet Stardust Rock Show tomorrow night, which is the rock and roll burlesque show at the Stonewall Inn at 7 p.m. So this is just a little promo clip that we have of the show.
Excellent.
Yes, rocking out. So now that is the Velvet Stardust Rock Show, right? At 7 o'clock tomorrow night at Stonewall.
Yes, everybody come out and see us. Yep. So I was just telling Wendy earlier, it's a really cool show. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot happening. We do it at small, intimate venues like the Stonewall Inn, and then we do it on larger theater stages. We're playing the Mock Chunk Opera House in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
Oh my God, I know Jim Thorpe.
Yeah. Oh, what a great little town.
It really is.
Love it.
Right. When are you doing that?
In April. That end of April. Yeah.
Sweet.
So I was just telling her, we go into rehearsals every month. Sometimes we have 3 or 4 or 5 shows in one weekend at all different size venues. So we I'm really proud of this cast, and we just adjust to wherever.
I was going to say, to be able to adapt. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, some of the things that you've done included, I love this. You directed a show. And the show was called Mary Howling Queen of the Crazy Ones. What was that?
So
what was that show?
So I have a dear friend who's a playwright, and he wrote this show about bullying. And so I played Mary, and she was a girl who was bullied in school. And this was about the way her mind worked and her imaginary friends and the things that she did to get herself through. It was just a great experience. And I think it's a really great show. We're going to start doing it at schools and stuff. It's a really great way to connect with kids and have them look at it through a different scope.
Yeah.
Somebody like you aware that that's happening. I love your give back. I love you wanting to use the arts in that way. And I look at you, and you don't look like the type of person that would be bullied. You know, you come you come across completely together. So so you were, and you have a sensitivity that other children are not going to go through this.
And I just think, I think about my son. I think about all the students I've had, and I'm so lucky that I'm surrounded by a group of friends and colleagues who have also, gone through things like that and can use the arts to, tell the younger generation that's up and coming in the arts that, this is how we're going to get through it, and we're going to do it together.
Right. I love it.
Now,
go ahead, Tim.
I have a question. Are you in LGBT community?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought. You were married to writer Sharon Del Rocco, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about Sharon a little bit?
Yeah, so she's a writer. We've been together for quite a few years, and we have a son, Nico. And
I love that.
He's gonna I taught him how to rhinestone a hat yesterday.
That's all he needs to know. That's all he needs to know.
He said, "Mama, I help you," and I was like, "Sure, bud." But we got to do this right, so he figured it out. And he goes, "It's beautiful." I was like,
"Yes, good."
And that is a skill every 4-year-old does need.
Absolutely,
dexterity with their hands and their creativity.
Well, creativity, absolutely, right, and appreciation of beauty, and no matter the gender or sexual preference.
And if he gets bullied, then he can go to school and say, "But I know how to rhinestone a hat."
Right.
Yes. Well, thank you for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our beautiful and special guest, the wonderful Jamie Marie. Yay. Now, can you tell everybody how they can find you or how to keep in touch with you?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram. It's at Jamie Marie Star. Not because I think I'm a star, but because I love stars. I have to clarify that. Because everybody's like, "Is that really your Instagram handle?" I'm like,
"Yeah."
Oh, excuse me. Some people's handles. Are you kidding me? That's like,
I just like stars. I have them.
You
tattooed
do.
I love it.
All my shows are branded with the name Star in them somewhere. So.
Well, but again, that's a reflection of who you are. You are a star. So
thank you.
Accept it.
I just think you're pretty. I like sparkly things.
That's because
you're on Instagram. Where else can we find? The shows have their own websites too, right?
They do. So you can find me on Instagram. The Velvet Stardust Rock Show, which is the one that we're touring with right now, is at Velvet Stardust Rock. Facebook, Instagram, all over. And we're just starting a new show. It's called the Starlight Jazz Show, which is really cool.
Nice.
Along the same lines, live band, jazz and Broadway music, and dancers. So that would be cool.
Oh, sweet. I cannot wait to see that.
How cool is that, right?
So for kids out there or anybody out there that wants to get in the arts, what would you, any advice that you would give them?
Do it for sure. Do it if you're thinking about it. And I think, like we said earlier, just giving yourself every possible experience that you can and not worrying about what people tell you you should do or shouldn't do. Because you never know what can come out of a situation. Absolutely. And you never know the connections that you make. You never know, I've been on so many sets where I meet somebody and then I do something else with them. And I like to keep the same people around. Once you meet good people, you
right.
want to hold them
close. We all feel that way.
So if you're out there and you go out there and you're a good person, it's gonna work out for you. So just as much experience as you could get.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
What do you I just want to ask her what do you tell them about rejection? Because obviously doing what you're doing, you've thrown yourself against the wall many times.
Yes. Oh yeah.
How do you tell them about rejection and how to deal with that?
Well, being a very sensitive soul like myself and like most artists, it took me a little bit to get there. But again, I go back to that experience in high school with the theater director who was not ginger in his approach to telling you what needed to be done. And I'm grateful for that. And, the first few auditions I went on when I was, in my late teens, early 20s, they say funny things. Like I auditioned for something where I was supposed to, I guess we were like chimney sweeps and they were like, sorry, you're too pretty. And I got cut. And then I've been on auditions where they're like, you're not pretty enough.
Pretty enough. Yeah.
You're not tall enough. You're not short enough. You're not. So it's not, you can't take it as an insult.
Absolutely.
It's just being on the other side of it, again, having that experience and me being a producer, a director, someone who does casting all the time. I do casting for things. It's like, it's not personal. It's just these are the parameters. This is what we need. This is what the call says. And sorry, you're not it today. Thank you so much.
And Tim, who wants to look like a chimney sweep anyway?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Jamie Marie, thank you so very much. Absolutely wonderful. I loved getting to hang out and chat with you for a little while. This was wonderful.
Thank you, guys. It was so nice to meet you.
And again, thank you for tuning into If These Walls Could
Talk.
Come to the Velvet Stardust Rock Show at the Stonewall Inn.
Yay! Thursday night tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay, and now that's the broadcast version. So now we just talk.
We got comments. We got some comments on here too.
Let me get back over there so I can see the comments. Oh, we got quite a few. Susan Let's Walter. I love her. She sent hearts.
And she has a son that is now started in this business, Aiden, which is very cool.
Aiden.
He did a couple of showcases at Don't Tell Mama. And he's a very talented.
And they live in Delaware, and he's done some shows in there. And so he's starting to get some work. But I love watching him grow into it. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Suze, a designer friend of ours from Massachusetts. She says hello.
Yes. I think they reached out to me on Facebook. Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, Suze. Yeah.
She's
amazing. Amazing.
She's great.
OHG says, let's go. My longtime friend.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
And OHG also says, is that Chris?
That's Chris. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Chris. And Chris also says in capital letters, she's freaking amazing.
So are you, my darling.
Right. And you're a rock star. Chris is like, hi, Chris. Thank you.
Robert Owen says, hi, Wendy, Tim, and Jamie.
Hey, Robert. Thank you for tuning in.
Jamie Marie, you are a native New Yorker? ? Well, you're from New Jersey, but you came into New York a lot.
Yeah.
You grew up in the New York. I consider that growing up in the New York area, the metropolitan area. Yeah. Evan Lawrence says, happy Wednesday. We love Evan Lawrence.
Hey. Great designer too. He's a designer as well.
Oh, I think this is referring to the gasoline hand. Robert Owen says it's a good thing you didn't have to shoot a smoking scene with the cigarette.
So funny. That was part of the story I left out for the abridged version, but they did come up to one of the main characters with a hairspray can right next to me. I was like,
oh my God, that is the best story ever.
My God, this is how I'm going.
Funny, Robert. I love that he said that. That's great.
Saint Evie says, great interview. Loved it.
Thank you, Saint Evie.
And Sue says, I love you all. OHG says, you are a rock star. And you are.
You are already.
Well, you're a variety of stars, definitely.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that thirst for different for theater and film and just to entertain.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you also have a practical business approach to each one of those genres. You've seen from the inside.
You have to, yes.
But a lot of people, you know what is so interesting about you can, and a lot of artists really can't. You may have, what do they call that, Tim? The left brain, right brain thing where they can do both?
Yeah.
Wait, like, do you know Francisco, who's a performer? She goes by the name Trans Francisco. I love her. She is an accountant and a financial planner, and does movies, and
so
is able to perform.
Paints and sculpture and
that's really cool.
So, and Fran explained to me about the left brain, right brain thing. So you probably have that going on. You know, maybe you're not a financial planner, but you know
Certainly
what?
Not.
You're running your own business from the time you graduated high school.
Right.
I was lucky enough. I grew up. My dad was a business guy and always had his own business and stuff. And I kind of was under his wing at a very young age and you know, ordering merch for my businesses. I had like a baby sitting in a daycare when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I had pencils with the name of it on there. Like, you know, like I was just always how my brain worked.
Right.
Yeah, he taught you how to be entrepreneurial and enterprising.
Right. And you can do it. That's the other thing.
You can do it. And also that confidence that you can do it. You can do it on your own.
Right.
That's great. Yeah. Let me see. So I had so many notes.
I wanted to ask you just about auditioning and your game plan going forward, because you know, you've gone up a gazillion pegs from just auditioning. You're producing all your own stuff. What is your vision for yourself?
So after I had my son, I really thought about a clear vision because, you know, like you have kids and you're like, well, now I need a plan.
Right. You need a plan.
But I would love to, when he's a little older, not now, maybe in the next couple of years, I would love to really just get into the audition circuit again for acting, because that's what I really miss. And just get some of those bigger roles, take some more classes, and be able to do that. I can't now. I'm so grateful to be a mom and to be able to produce and direct shows and do both. I'm so lucky that I have such a support system that allows me to do both and to run my own company and produce and direct these shows and still get to be a present parent. And that's what I want to be first and foremost. So I know when he's in school full time, I will be auditioning a lot more again.
You're a terrific type. I mean, while we were talking, you're just a really good, you're going to hate me for using this word. You look generic and you're pretty, generic, and anywhere in the country, a face like yours is just, you know, one of those faces that people will watch. And you were saying there's categories in this business. You fall into that.
I get the marketable girl next door. Yes. Marketable.
Super pretty girl.
Don't you just love those labels?
It's true. I'm sorry.
So I would love to do that. And I would love to, of course, continue to do these shows. The Velvet Stardust Rock show is doing really well, and there's just really something special about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that in the future as well.
I love it.
Now I see on your credits also like Orange is the New Black and Blue Bloods and
so that was just like a bunch of, again, like featured extra stuff that I did on some of my favorite shows, and you know, I kind of picked what I wanted to do. Like I would get calls for these things and I knew I had to run the studio. So I was just very picky about the jobs that I took. And I was like, oh my God, I love that show. And like, what kind of role is it? And whatever. And that's why that was what I chose to do. And even though everybody's like, don't do the extra work, it's bad for you, I was like, but that's what I can do right now. That's what's able to be part of my multitasking in this moment. So that's what I'm going to do.
You're right. You have it all together.
But now haven't you?
And my friends watching it are like, get out of here.
She really put it all together. It's in the stars, pardon the pun.
But have you noticed that, like, when you go on one of your favorite television shows and you see it from the different perspective, from the actual making of it, and then you go back and watch it on TV, that you see it differently?
Oh, absolutely. When I did Orange is the New Black, I geeked out big time because I love that show. And I snuck around, like, you know, they didn't need you. Sometimes you sit on set for hours, which I never mind doing because you could explore or get all their stuff done. I was running a business. So I'm like, cool, I'll get work done. You let me know when you need it. And,
smart.
So I walked around that set and I don't think I'm like allowed to say exactly where or is the show's over, right?
The show's over.
The show's over. Yeah.
So they were shooting in like an abandoned children's hospital, or like that was actually then a prison, or like there was just a lot going on. And I see ghosts. I love ghosts. We're best friends.
Wow, very cool.
You saw dead people. I was saving that till the end because
And scratch that question off. Do you see dead people?
I knew you saw dead people.
So Orange is the New Black set. So you're walking around.
I walked around and I got to see like the little chapel that they shot some of the scenes in, and I really snuck around when I shouldn't have, and explored a lot because I was geeking out. So that was a great day. That was fun.
How so I know you're Irish. How long when did your first experience with the other side happen? You were a small child. You were. By the way, you were in my dream the other night. You didn't look like this at all, but you were in my dream that she was coming here.
I would I would feel people sitting on the edge of my bed.
Yeah.
Like the indentation on my bed.
Right.
I would be in that really cool moment, which now that I've embraced it and know about it and study it, that really cool moment in between sleep and awake.
Yes.
Things used to bother me. Now they don't. But in that moment as a child, I would, hear a lot of voices and a lot of noises and a lot of,
Well, things. You saw things that other people couldn't sing. Tim, you know how I knew this about her? You're not going to believe this. 3 nights ago, and Alan, my husband who's here, does our lighting. I woke up in the morning. He said, "How did you sleep?" I said, "I had a very upsetting dream." I said, "Jamie, who's coming on the show, I had a dream about her, but it didn't look like her. But it was a very attractive woman, and we were sitting in front of a computer, and I was apologizing to her because there were all of these wires coming out of the computer, and I couldn't make the show happen because the wires were all twisted. Analyze this, right? And every outlet had something plugged into it. And one of Alan's old assistants who had passed away, Craig, was also in the dream, and he was apologizing for twisting all of these wires together. And in the dream, I said to Jamie, "I'm so sorry. Chauncey had told me," and this was so vivid, that I should have you on the show, and I feel so apologetic. I feel like I'm letting everyone down." Oh. And that was the last thing I remember about the dream. And I woke up and I was so upset, and I thought there had to be a reason I had this dream. I've never met you before.
Yeah.
And it was so vivid. But sometimes when you connect with somebody on a very psychic level, you can't always explain what it is, but they'll appear in your dreams, and she did, which was so weird.
I was going to say,
smell like gasoline.
No, she was right.
Yeah, but there's a lot to unpack from that dream.
The wires and the outlets and the twisting, things were twisted. And everything was confused. So yeah, that is like super symbolic.
So you were saying about thinking about getting back into audition. Like, what do you see or feel for the future for coming up?
I would love to get into acting again, as much as I love
television or film, or because theater takes so much time.
Television and film. I love theater, and I love dance, and I love what I'm doing, and it will always be a passion of mine, and I will always be involved in it. But I would really like to just be one of those people that somebody's like, oh, they look me up, they're like, oh, she didn't really kick off her acting career until she was like this old. Right. Look at her go. That's my vision right now.
Good.
I love it. Good. No, you totally, you have your vision.
Another question for you, as far as acting goes. Do you have a preference? You said, well, again, like theater is good, but do you prefer television or film, or are they both about the same for you?
I love them both. I think
I do too. Yeah.
Something really cool about television. I love film, obviously. But I like television in the sense where like the different episodes come together in a different way. Like you sit down and you watch a film, and you may or may not know how it's going to end, or you could venture your guesses throughout it. But with the television, I think there's always some extra surprises, and I love to sit down and watch a new series and just think about what I thought was going to happen.
And, that's cool.
And then kind of it takes you somewhere else. At least the good show does.
But some of that is the director in you too.
Yeah, probably.
Like you think about the choice that director made.
Now, another question: which do you prefer between like drama and comedy?
Ooh, I love a good drama.
Uh-huh.
Good drama. I think when I'm watching shows, I'll get into like I don't often have time to watch TV. I think by the time
same.
I'm like it's, you know, finally in bed, either my brain is just until I just pass out, or I just don't have the time. But but when I am invested in a show, I do like a drama. But I'll intersperse with a comedy if I need it. If it leaves me with something before bed, where I'm like, oh, there goes my drink for the night, I'll put on a comedy.
But what my question was with your acting, do you like to act in comedies or act in drama?
Drama for sure.
Oh, in dramas, because I love to dive into a good dramatic role, a meaty dramatic role. But I also love to just like let loose on a comedy too.
Cool. Like comedy is a lot more difficult than I think people realize.
Right. Absolutely.
To do it the right way. And I think when I was young, I didn't realize it too. I thought that was kind of the easier way, but there is no easy way. But that I think people don't realize when you are given a comedy script, like you really have to be great with that.
It's like I am 150% comedy and I nail those jobs. I've never nailed every dramatic thing I ever went up for. The casting directors were laughing and I was giving my heart and soul and it was coming off comedic.
That's funny.
For me, it's completely instinctive. So it's not hard at all.
That's
because,
really cool,
because I am truly a comedian, because comedy comes out of tragedy. And I had a very tough childhood where I felt, and we talked about, you know, geeky or out of place. Like you said, you've talked to kids about bullying and everything else. I didn't fit or whatever. Humor is a really great way to get beyond that. You know, humor and art, you know, let me tell you, will get you. Humor and art will absolutely get you through each and every time.
Right on.
Well, Jamie Marie, thank you so much for all you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you're contributing so much to society and to the people around you. And that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And we love having you on the show. Tim and I I run an LGBTQ in Milford, Pennsylvania. I'm on the board of that and helped start it 10 years ago. So a lot of what I do is, or what our programs that we talk about, or the things that you're doing, giving back with the kids and all of that. It's really important, especially like in rural area. It's important everywhere, but in rural areas, they don't have the support or anything. So thank you, as Tim said, for everything that you're trying to do to pay it forward and make a difference in our society.
Absolutely. And I think we should do some acting or something together soon. I would love that.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. So let's do it.
Or sing a song together. I love that too. But I will be seeing you tomorrow at Stonewall. So tell them once again, Stonewall tomorrow at 7 p.m. The name of the show.
Velvet Stardust Rock Show will be at the Stonewall Inn tomorrow at 7 p.m. Come see Tim. He's coming. I mean, if for no other reason, Tim is going to be there.
Right. Tim's going to be there, and Chauncey will be there.
Chauncey, can we give some Chauncey love?
Yes. Yeah, Chauncey Love, who's but produces at the Stonewall and is the DJ there, and my God, the jack of all everything.
Everywhere.
Speaking of people who give back to the community.
Amazing.
Yeah, you talk about,
and one of the most humble, he makes me mad sometimes. He's too humble.
Yes.
Right.
Like, you just did this amazing thing and you're like, and you know.
Well, he works for charities and even international.
International.
He's really a remarkable human being. We love Chauncey Dandridge very much. Yay! And also now we add Jamie Marie Hannigan to that list too, of people that we love and adore.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. We so appreciate it. And
thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. And have a great rest of week. Oh my God, and happy Valentine's Day is coming up.
Oh yes.
Tuesday.
Happy
Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy VD, everyone.
Bye-bye.